every now and then when I get some videos recorded, it turns out that they were just really short, and like in the heat of the moment, I thought they were absolutely fantastic games, but it turns out that they were just really little teeny tiny bite-sized yummy. It's like a bite-sized Snickers, and you put two of them together, and they're not even a regular Snickers, but you still have fun with it, except for with this, it's like 15 minutes of video, and it can be a little bit over the top. But hey, it's a doubleheader. I do them sometimes, so I have two games for you today. This first one is Mega Charizard doing a little bit of work, not the Y one. The Y one does not need to prove itself to me. It flattens my face every freaking time. This is the X one that's going to be in this video, and then the battle after this, we'll jump into that as soon as I get to the like transition period I have between the two. But I'm gonna go for T-Wave on the Crobat, and much to my surprise, he actually stays in and lets me do it. But he goes for a U-turn right now. The only reason I could think of is that if he had like a Heal Beller or an Aromatherapy user, he was going to pivot out to immediately after. But it turns out he just goes into his Gliscor just to get the Toxic Orb going on. I would have just hard switched out to this thing because I can't paralyze a ground type, and you would have gotten your Toxic Orb anyway. But hey, just my 2 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out into Noivern because I really don't think he's going to go for an Ice Fang on a Klefki. I think he's going to try to go for the Earthquake. He doesn't have a sub-up or anything of the sort. I can go for a Draco flat out. This is my first experience with Specs Dracoing a Gliscor using a Noivern, and I don't know whether or not I'll knock it out. If I don't knock it out, I'll probably get Ice Fang. But it turns out that it does, in fact, knock it out in one shot, and that's absolutely fantastic because I tend to overestimate Noivern a little bit. It's a good poke, don't get me wrong, but definitely don't overreach like what you think it normally can, because you will more than likely die in return. But I know it's going to either go for, the Goodra's either going to go for Dragon Pulse or an Ice Beam. I have seen him run Ice Beam before. It's kind of weird because the only real coverage you gain on that is like Grass and Flying types. So it's not a terrible thing to run, but it's still kind of weird to see it running Blizzard and Fire Blast. All these high power, low accuracy moves, especially with the nerfs on each of them, is to me not really worth the trade-off, but hey, you know, I would probably just use Ice Beam anyway, but Fire Blast, yeah, you could argue Fire Blast. He was for Dragon Pulse right there. I think he was probably expecting my switch, wanting me to preserve this thing, like to go back into Noivern and then knock me out with the Draco. Could be the thing there, or he's button mashing. I honestly don't know. It's whatever. I'm sacking this thing anyway, because I already paralyzed, I think, the fastest thing on his team, so I can just do that. So I'm like, you know what, I'll set up a little spike, and it turns out I dodge another Fire Blast, so I get to set up another little spike. I always kind of pictured him throwing like little broken keys that he doesn't want anymore, and he just like gets rid of them off his keys, like, fuck you, I don't want these anymore, take them. Take them and step your stupid little Barney stubby feet all over them. But I do have 2 layers of spikes up is the important part here. So I also have my my Charizard in here. I know if I Mega Evolve that a Dragon Pulse will do super effective damage to me, which is why I choose not to Mega Evolve. That way the Dragon Pulse does neutral, and because I have the light screen up, it does like nothing. So I'm going to DD again. Why the hell not? What is this thing going to do to me? I haven't seen it reveal T-Bolt if it has it. It could have Sludge Bomb for fairies. I know my own runs that. But it turns out he just goes for another Dragon Pulse. I'm going to go for a Roost to get rid of most of this stuff off. And then I believe after the Roost, I decide to Mega Evolve, finally. And then he's just going to keep going for Dragon Pulse because it's a stab. Blizzard would be a different thing you could go for, but because I have Flare Blitz, I actually would end up thawing. But I end up Mega Evolving on this turn and then just going for the Dragon Claw. I took off Outrage for Dragon Claw because it turns out to be really easy to be trapped in on a situation where you don't want to be trapped in. If that makes any sense, like if you go for an Outrage and you forget your opponent has a Fairy or just whatever, then it turns out that you're not stuck in for another turn because it still has the same, I'm pretty sure it still has the same base defense as the regular one. So it's still pretty dangerous to run from time to time. So Dragon Claw with the Tough Claws boost is just fine. Like if you get off like 1 or 2 DDs or 1 and like I'm adamant, so it gets the job done in most cases. So he goes for a double fake out right here. I just realized it's a Mega Kangaskhan. This was, it was a nightmare to fight one of these. But it turns out it's very easily dealt with because the Sucker Punch mind games at this point are not even that big a deal to me at all. Goes for the Sucker Punch once, predicts that I'm going to go for a Roost again, and tries to go for the return of the Power Up Punch, I'm assuming. And I just flatten it with a Flare Blitz, and that was the biggest threat on his team. Basically gone. So right here, I think I ended up going for a Flare Blitz, not really expecting the Crobat to be Sash because I haven't seen that since like Gen 4. And then it turns out it actually was Sash Crobat. I very easily could have gone for the Dragon Claw. I was just like, oh, you know, late game shit going on, let's go for it. And turns out he uses his sash to taunt me so I can't roost, and then I'm just going to go for a Dragon Claw from here. I was at +2 attack, so I definitely could have just gone for Dragon Claw. I guess I'm underestimating Mega Charizard, but it's kind of whatever at this point. And then, wouldn't you know it, freaking Talonflame's going to come in again. Talonflame is the reason I'm wanting to make a lot more walls, because all of the stuff I have EV'd is beautiful, it's precious, I love it, but nothing stands up to stupid Smogon Bird and its priority Brave Bird. It's ridiculous. So I was like, okay, I should be able to take one of these, knock it out with a Specs Draco, because I did that to Gliscor earlier, and it turns out I just get flattened by a Choice Banded Brave Bird. What? Hello? That does so much. It's ridiculous. So I learned at this point, okay, he's Choice Banded. Yeah, that's a thing. So I go into Metagross, and I believe I just end up going for a Zen Headbutt, which, although it's resisted on Alakazam, Alakazam does not have the highest base defense, so it still does half, and I'm just going to take it out with a Bullet Punch for the other half of that, and then that's it. That's all Alakazam did this game. But I'm re-EVing this thing as well, because this one in this video still has max attack and max speed. It's kind of silly. I got to put some HP in it in order for the Assault Vest to get the most bang for its buck. But I think it decides to go for U-turn for whatever reason, just because it's last one. I think I might have had a switch into fire types at this point. Although looking at it, I probably didn't. If he had gone for a Flare Blitz, I'm sure he would have been able to get away with it just fine. What did he have? I gotta check. Or what did I have left? I had Zam, and I think I had Breloom left in Metagross. So I guess it really didn't matter at that point. I kind of had it. But here's a Passerby game. This is the second of the 2-1, and this is when I changed my message. I was like, hey, Passerby battle, and then this guy challenged me. I was like, okay, it was kind of cool. Using Zygarde, I'm still trying new things. I don't remember if Zygarde actually ended up doing a lot in this game. Not in that it just, you know, shit the bed. Just I didn't really have an opportunity to use it to its full potential, which admittedly really isn't that high of a potential if you really think about it. You know, like base 100 attack and DD and E-speed. It's kind of cool, but it's a bastardization of like 5 different ideas with dragons that you'd want to use, and it just doesn't mesh together. It's trying to do too many things at once. It doesn't have the stats to do it. So he leads off with a Reuniclus. I have not seen Reuniclus in Gen 6 yet. He looks even more jellyful than normal, but it's not a Reuniclus. It's actually Elite Zoroark, and I did not know that, because if I did not outspeed it, that definitely would have been a problem. I don't remember Heliolisk base speed versus Zoroark's base speed, but I go into Houndoom because it's a fantastic switch in for the Dark move, or if he wants to go for the Flamethrower to take advantage of my Dry Skin. Both would be great switch-ins. And then it turns out he gets the accuracy drop on Night Days. This matters because on the turn immediately after I miss a freaking Flamethrower, I go for a sub because I thought he was going to want to switch, but it turns out he's going for Hidden Power. I don't know what Hidden Power this is. It's neutral, which is interesting. I mean, if it's like HP Dragon, then that's really dumb, or if it's HP Flying, I guess that kind of works out too. But it takes 2 to break my sub, and I think I missed the first Flamethrower. I don't want to go for another sub on the off chance he was actually going to switch up moves. I don't know what he was expecting or what Hidden Power that was, like what Hidden Power could have possibly been neutral. Like HP Poison could have been a thing for fairies, but I don't know. I'm not even going to try to figure that one out. But going to Togekiss, predicting a T-Wave or an Air Slash, I actually get Aura Sphered. I completely forgot about that for a split second, but thankfully I do not die in one shot. And he's actually starting to get a little bit more aggressive with his plays I get, and, you know, kind of getting a feel for how I want to play. And he just switches out immediately, predicting the Volt Switch or the T-Bolt. That's an okay thing to do, and I go into my Hitmontop because this is the premier switch into Flygon, especially during Gen 5. Dragon Claw, gonna eat that shit up. Earthquake, yummy for freaking... See, look at that. That Dragon Claw, that was a crit, and it does, like, 33%. This guy ain't got shit on me, so especially with the Stone Edge, anything he wants to go for is not going to be doing a lot. So, what is it? Aegislash is going to come in. This was funny. This is an interesting matchup, but I'll show you guys what happens later, because I'm not going to deal with it right now, because I don't want him to get a free Sword Stance or anything of the sort. I decided to go out into my Zygarde. The main reason for this is because it's got a really high base special defense without investment. If he wants to go for the Sword Stance, that's fine. I can just go for Earthquakes and spam them until he wants to switch out. He ends up going for the Iron Head, and look at that. doesn't really do that much to Zygarde. Like, even if that's a stab Iron Head, and it does, like, what is that, like 30? Maybe a little over 30, 35 or 40%. That's a solid 3-hit KO, potentially 4 depending on if that was a high or a low roll. Like, that's pretty beefy. I end up trying to predict a series of doubles here, because Togekiss walls the shit out of Zygarde. I go into my Heliolisk, and then I go for the Volt Switch right here because I didn't think he was going to want to, like, predict twice in a row. That's not something that normal people do. Or I guess you could if you really wanted to do that. I just thought, you know, he would have cracked under the pressure of me, you know, doing that play. So I decided, okay, you know what? I still have a fail-safe in the form of Hitmontop. I tried to break the chain right there really early, if that makes any sense in terms of predictions. And Dragon Claw, once again, still doesn't do shit. But I've seen his switch in for Hitmontop. And this is important because I do run Foresight on my Hitmontop, which means that this Ghost Sword, which is made of ghostly steel that I was previously not able to hit, I can now hit with close combats. And the King Shield is really obvious on this turn because if you know what Foresight does, you know that I'm going to try to knock your freaking face in with the close combat. So I end up going for a Toxic. I know it doesn't affect it, but it's the only move I have on my set other than Foresight. That, like, I have Close Combat, Rapid Spin, Foresight, and Toxic. But I go for a Close Combat right here because I know the odds of King Shielding twice in a row is really low. I think it's like, someone told me it was 33 as opposed to 50 on the Protect, which makes sense because it's a Protect, but it gets you some benefits to it. It turns out Iron Head doesn't do that much to a Hitmontop. I just really don't give a shit about this. I really wanted to predict the second King Shield, but I thought he was just going to try to go for the Shadow Sneak and knock me out from there, which is why I decided to go for another Close Combat. And would you look at that, a Hitmontop actually took out an Aegislash. Like, that's not something you see every day. Just got Carlton. Look at that. I was going to make it's not unusual joke, but that was very, very unusual to see that happen. It actually made my day to have that happen. Have a 4-sided Hitmontop take out an Aegislash. But he's got Flygon coming in. It's not intimidated, and I'm pretty sure I can get knocked out by an Earthquake, which is why I decided to go into my Azure mode, because I do all the Dragon coverage. And then I believe I just go for the Belly Jet right here, because I can honestly take an Earthquake just fine. It does, like, not a lot. How much is that? Like, fuck if I know. How do I even basic math right now? Whatever. I know that because I'm above 50%, I can just Belly Drum and I can just Aqua Jet my way to victory. And I believe that's actually going to end up being the game. As soon as you let one of these things get a Belly Drum up, if you don't have a switch in for it, like, it's game over. It doesn't look like he had anything to begin with. So that was probably my win conditioner right there, just to bring this thing in safely and just Aqua Jet everything. I kind of doubted how much Aqua Jet would have done in this thing, because these things are really bulky. These things are sturdy bodies, and it turns out I'm just going to go for the Aqua Tail instead of the Aqua Jet because I am, in fact, faster, and that will ensure the KO very easily. And Togekiss going to come in. I was really on the fence, but I was like, you know what? He might be offensive because he has Aura Sphere, so I'm just going to go for the Aqua Jet and see if it knocks out. And spoilers, it does. I believe Hitmontop just took out Aegislash, which was the prime thing that Azumarill probably would have had trouble with, and then everything else is just going to die straight out. I mean, Charizard's going to Mega Evolve in my face, and it's just not really going to do anything. It's going to die to an Aqua Jet as quickly as it came in. And then is this his last one? I think this might be his last one, but it Belly Jetted. That's a thing that is possible in this generation of Pokemon, our Generation 6, and it dies straight out. So, anyway, that was both of those games. They were kind of whatever games I was hanging on to, but I was like, if I upload one video today and it's like only 6 minutes, that's such a ripoff. So I figured I'd combine two. And we'll see how you guys like that, I guess. If you did, you can leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. And that'll do it. I'll have better videos soon, I promise. I'll see you guys later.